Hello, welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor helping you realize your dream of owning a home or investing in one. Today, I'm answering the question, should you invest in a timeshare? For those of you who may not be clear, a timeshare is when you buy time to stay at a particular resort during a particular range of dates. In my humblest opinion, it's an investment in memories, not money. It's great if you have a big family or a lot of friends, meaning over 10 people, and you guys like to travel together a lot to the same place. There are normally a lot of activities that they provide that brings families together. To me, it's easier to make longer lasting friendships there with other people at the resorts. Many parents like mine have done this. The thing is, when the kids grow up, they might not always want to travel together to the same place or the same way, which is what's happening and what has happened in our situation. Now, let me just tell you this. The one that my mother has is 5 minutes away from Disney. The local bus actually stops on the property, picks people up from the resort grounds, and can go straight to Disney. It runs, I think it's every 30 minutes or so. And then there's another local bus that stops right outside of right outside of the resort that can pick you up and take you to Disney and other attractions within the Orlando, Florida area. What's nice is that there are a lot of appliances that are made available to you, which makes it feel like a home away from home. For example, there's a washer and dryer, there's a stove, there's a toaster, there is a microwave and a huge refrigerator. These things you don't get in a regular hotel. What I do not like about the properties is that when she does the exchanges, most of them, the location is not convenient at all. It's far away from the airport, the bus station, the train station, and other attractions. You have to take an Uber or a Lyft, which will run you a minimum of $25. If you try to take a taxi, because we did once, and I think the taxi charged us about $65, $70 to get to where the resort actually was. And then lastly, the stores on the property are expensive. For example, even though they have a grocery store there, the prices are just ridiculous. So when you try to go to, let's say, another grocery store outside of the property, some properties, the grocery store is a good distance. Like you would actually need to rent a car or maybe even get on the bus, take that, and then come back to the resort, which is like extra money. It's not like you can just walk to a grocery store and then come back on the property for most of the time, not all. The other thing is the fact that you have to actually pay for the exchange, and that can range between $100 to $500. Now, she's already finished paying off the property, but that would be an additional amount that some of you would have to pay if you decided to go with a timeshare. And then the maintenance is $900 a year or more. Remember, both the maintenance fee and the exchange fee, and to be a member of a company that provides exchange services, that goes up every year. And then see, nowadays, sometimes it's just me and her, so it's not really worth it. If we were to go to a regular hotel or vacation rental or Airbnb, it would be a lot cheaper. In addition to all of that, sometimes they charge a refurbishing fee. This is not an annual fee, but it may be applied like every 5 to 10 years. You can't, of course, you can't choose how you want them to decorate it or when they should refurnish the place during your particular buying time. So you pretty much are at their mercy. The other reason why I don't think the timeshare is a good idea is because the demand is very low and the supply is bountiful. Most of them never appreciate, so you can forget about trying to use equity. If you do insist on getting one, it's best to choose one that has many amenities on the property and it's near a popular attraction, particularly an international attraction like Disney, where, Disney is a name that's seen and known all over the world. You want to also buy an old one as opposed to a new one. Why? Financing one will be at a higher interest rate than if you were to just simply buy a single or multifamily home. Most of the salespeople will lie to you, so you definitely want to read those contracts for yourself or get a lawyer and do the math. And then another thing that most people don't tell you is that buying a timeshare may affect your analysis when you go to try and buy other property. It's going to show up on your loan verification. So definitely keep that in mind. Now, I have seen many that say, oh, well, you can rent out your timeshare. This is true. You can. You can list a timeshare on Airbnb. Some resorts actually offer to rent it for you, but of course they're going to charge a fee. You do have some resorts that will not let you rent out your timeshare. So you definitely want to check that out in the contract. Don't just ask the salespeople because they're going to tell you anything. Read to see if that's what your contract actually says. If you are going to do it yourself, besides Airbnb, listing it on Airbnb, you can also list it on eBay, Craigslist, BidShares, and redweek.com. In order to set the price, you want to call the resort and find out how much do they normally charge people when they decide to, if you decide to rent out your timeshare. You can also look in the newspapers. You can also do a Google search, go to eBay, Airbnb, and see what other people who are at your resort or near your resort, how much do they charge? And that's how you would get an idea of what to do. You want to also check the getaway or bonus week inventory at RCI for the location and dates for your plan rental. If there are any such weeks available for rent in the same general area as your resort, you might have trouble renting your week. Even if your week is at a different resort, take those rental prices into account when you are setting your price. Next, once you decide how much you're going to charge and you have already listed it, and then you have chosen some people, or some people have called you saying that they want to rent your timeshare, you want to give them a lease. And that lease should spell out everything that's involved. Now, you can do it the secure way and incorporate an escrow company, but that's going to cost you more money. You can also do it yourself. And basically, you hold the money after they've checked out. PayPal will not allow you to perform any transactions when it comes to timeshare. So you will have to use some other form of some other way in which you can collect that money from that person. You want to get a copy of the person's driver's license, and there must be some proof there. Look to see if they are over 21, because many resorts will not allow anybody under 21 to rent a week in their resort. They won't even sell to a 21-year-old, or I'm sorry, not 21, anybody under the age of 21. You also want to get a 10% security deposit that's returnable within 14 days after checkout. Then you want to ensure the details of the refundable deposit are included in your rental agreement. You want to call the resort a day after checkout and confirm that there were no problems, that the renter has to put up their credit card when checking in, but if they max out and there is damage, the resort will the resort will come calling you, not the person that you rented to. So you want to find that out before you return the security deposit to that person. Now, let's say you are the one that is renting, you are the rentor. You want to ask to get a copy of the reservation before you pay any money. You want to get the phone number of the resorts, and you want to also verify the owner. You want to get 100% of the money prior to check-in, and definitely ensure and explain any options about refunds or cancellation. You want to call the resort 14 days before you check in and just double check to make sure that everything is going to run smoothly. If you decide that you want to sell your timeshare, know that the market for selling timeshares is oversaturated. You want to choose a reputable company to sell, because some of them unfortunately will rip you off. Many will sell, many have high upfront fees in order to sell your property as well. And definitely don't sign anything without reading it for yourself first, or if you feel somewhat overwhelmed, get yourself a lawyer that will do it for you. It's best to have a contract with your buyer that specifies what they are getting in addition to ownership, if any. And you want to also use a closing service. Closing services typically will run you anywhere between $250 to $500. You also, just on your own behalf, just update yourself on the laws of the particular state that you're in, because Florida in particular has many laws that protect and provide protection for any owner that wants to sell their property. Unfortunately, there are a lot of resale agents that are unscrupulous. I have spoken about that in my book, The Perils of Real Estate Scam Alert. So feel free to pick that up. It is available on Amazon and Kindle. Next, another thing that you can do is call timeshare cancellation. If you sign a timeshare agreement, you have a limited time to cancel the deal. There's normally a 10-day waiting period, which can't be waived by you or anyone acting on your behalf. It is against the law to conduct a closing on the timeshare until that waiting period has expired. If the timeshare seller attempts to ignore this rule, any subsequent closing is voidable by you for a period of up to 1 year. But here's the thing with the cancellation. They give you so much paperwork and they have you go through so many loops that a lot of times the 10 days pass. So just want you to think about that. There are several timeshare cancellation companies, but still many people don't trust in these companies. And it's understandable because unfortunately the timeshare industry is full of scammers. So when you cancel, make sure, try to cancel on time so that you don't pay that upfront fee. Another thing you can do is donate your timeshare. There are some charities that will take it. Please note, some of these charities will actually pay you a fee to donate, for you to donate your timeshare to them, which I think is weird, but yeah, that does happen. And then lastly, you can transfer your timeshare by deeding it over to another friend or a relative. That's another way in which you can get rid of your timeshare. So my friends, that is what I have for you tonight regarding timeshares. In my opinion, it's much cheaper and profitable to buy a home and rent it out as opposed to buying a timeshare and renting that out. Many people who say, oh, you can make so much money with renting timeshares, they actually make money teaching you how, but they don't necessarily always make money in renting out that timeshare. Because even though you can get one for $1 and many starting bids on eBay are for $1, you still have to pay maintenance. You still have to pay exchange. And sometimes that money for maintenance and exchange runs into the thousands, but what you get for rent, you might not get more than $500, $800. So again, you have to do your research, you have to do your diligence, and you have to do your math to see if it's really worth it for you. Otherwise, I say skip it altogether and then just do it the regular way, which is either hotel, Airbnb, or get a vacation rental. So that's it for now. Hopefully that information will help you make smarter financial moves. Remember, feel free to share this, pass this along. Each one, reach one, teach one. Bye for now.